nice article in the Managing Madrid blog. Wonderful lads that do a great job there. And worth reading about that man there. Karim Benzema needs to rest, and the numbers reveal why.
Times ended up almost looking like a 6-3-1. Some very good writing about that on the Managing Madrid website. First-rate podcast as well. Of course, Fede Valverde was a huge part of the equation.
Hello everyone, this is Lucas Navarrete. Welcome to Madrid Mornings. We are going to be reviewing what was a very disappointing performance from Real Madrid against Liverpool at Anfield. 1-0 loss in the Champions League. The loss itself isn't that meaningful in the sense that, this group stage in the Champions League is always very long and pretty meaningless, considering that Real Madrid had already performed at a high level and had obtained good results against other teams. So the loss itself isn't... I'm not that concerned about it in terms of, the implications that it could have for the future of the team in the competition. I'm not worried about it. I am indeed a bit concerned, not panicking yet, but a bit concerned about the team's effort, the team's performance against Liverpool, who are the third elite team Real Madrid have faced so far this season. Granted, the third team after Barca and Atletico, we know what happened against Atletico. Barcelona seemed to be a step in the right direction in this sense. The team performed well, dominated Barca, could have been a much better end product and result than the final 2-1 score. But yesterday was very similar to what we saw against Atletico de Madrid. The result itself was just 1-0 win for Liverpool. But obviously we saw Thibaut Courtois being very clearly and very obviously the man of the match for Real Madrid, which seems that the result could have easily been 3-0, maybe even 4-0 for Liverpool in this one, which is obviously very far from ideal, considering what Real Madrid had shown against Atletico in the past. So yeah, I thought, first of all, let me start this show by saying that I think Real Madrid are missing someone on that right wing at this point. We know what Xabi Alonso was going to do in terms of the starting lineup. He was quite possibly and very obviously going to replace Mastantuono with Camavinga. The first few minutes and the first few instances of the game saw Guler being deployed on that right wing, but then Alonso tried to take advantage of Guler's quality when it comes to passing and moved him back to the central midfielder role. And then obviously that meant that Camavinga was moved to the right flank of the offensive line, which is obviously not a good position for him in terms of the width he can provide and the dribbling ability he has. I mean, Camavinga is a brilliant midfielder when it comes to his dribbling ability, but all of a sudden, if you put him and you deploy him as a winger, that dribbling ability that he has as a central midfielder is wasted. As a winger, you need to be much more efficient with your dribbling when you're playing winger. That's obviously not Camavinga's fault. He's not a winger. I thought Real Madrid missed very serious width on that right flank, and that width that the team didn't have ultimately cost a lot to the team's offense and the team's offensive structure and cohesion when it comes to playmaking, distributing the ball effectively against Liverpool's defense, and all that. We saw Real Madrid actually controlling the possession battle, I believe. Last time I checked, it was the 75th minute, and Real Madrid were actually controlling and winning the possession battle. Let me check if it ended that way or not. Yeah, 61% possession for Real Madrid and 39% for Liverpool. But obviously, as you know, shots on target, 9 for Liverpool, 2 for Real Madrid. Big plays for Liverpool, key chances, big opportunities for Liverpool. 4. Real Madrid just 1. 4 corner kicks for Liverpool, 2 corner kicks for Real Madrid. So it's pretty clear that, although Real Madrid actually dominated and controlled the possession battle, it's very clear that Liverpool, I mean, you don't need me to tell you that Liverpool actually dominated the game, even though they actually didn't have the possession of the ball just very often. We saw Real Madrid struggling a lot, creating opportunities against Liverpool. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of frustration, a lot of panic reactions from the fan base in this one. Look, I'll be the first to admit this was a step in the wrong direction for Real Madrid. Definitely a step back when it comes to how the team performed and the team's overall performance here at Anfield. I'm not ready to be panicking just yet, guys. I mean, Real Madrid have a 5-point lead in La Liga, and we probably knew coming in that the team did not belong in the same tier as other teams like PSG or maybe even Bayern in terms of the Champions League contenders. This was an away game. It's always very tough to perform at Anfield. I will be the first to admit that this was a step back for Real Madrid, and that it's discouraging to see that Real Madrid might not have what it takes to be there with other big teams like PSG, at least this season. But this probably says a lot about the state of La Liga when it comes to the big teams in La Liga and how they can perform when they're playing Champions League football. We are seeing a general loss of talent in La Liga with the passing of each and every single year. And, while we are not seeing just that with Real Madrid and Barca, they're not losing talent. It's true that, they're probably not adding the same amount of talent that or depth that these other Premier League powerhouses are able to add each and every summer. So it's not that I'm blaming La Liga itself for Real Madrid's struggles in Europe, but I do believe that the state of La Liga and the state of La Liga's teams probably can explain at least a part of what we're seeing in Europe from Real Madrid over the last 2 seasons. So it's good that this loss happened right now and not like we got a year ago when Real Madrid had such a discouraging loss in London against Arsenal. This is the equivalent, in my opinion. So Real Madrid can learn from their mistakes and hopefully build from those mistakes in order to have better performances when they face elite opposition in the knockout stages away from the Bernabeu some months from now. Obviously, the toughest away game that Real Madrid will be playing in this group stage of the Champions League will be Olympiacos, in my opinion. But Olympiacos is definitely do not belong in the same tier as Liverpool. I would expect Real Madrid to perform way better there. And then Manchester City at home should also be a different game. It will not be easy to beat City, but Real Madrid will be much more comfortable at home, in my opinion, than they were at Anfield last night. I thought, I don't know how many times you need me to say that this was a step back and to admit that this was a very bad and discouraging performance. But I also believe that the expectations were sky high for this one when we did the show, Kian and I, the mailbag show, we received a question saying and asking us whether or not Real Madrid were going to thrash and, dismantle and destroy Liverpool away. This was not a realistic expectation, guys. I mean, we know Liverpool had been struggling, but Liverpool and Anfield we're talking about is very tough away game. So I think I can have it both ways. I can admit that the loss was very discouraging. The performance was not good. The second worst performance of the season, just right behind Atletico. But on the other hand, guys, the expectations were maybe too high. Like I said on that show that a draw would be good enough for me at Anfield against Liverpool. And granted, the process was important. Like a draw would have been enough with a good performance. Last night, imagine if Real Madrid somehow rescue a goal late in the game and managed to win a point. My stance on this game was going to be the same today. Like, the process is what matters to me at this point in time and during this stage of the competition. And the process was obviously not good. Seeing Real Madrid just shoot on target 2 times. That's why I'm not, the loss itself, I'm not concerned about it. I am concerned about the process and the performance. And that wouldn't have changed with a late goal from Real Madrid and a 1-1 draw. Assuming that the process was the same that it was last night. The offensive line, terrible. Vinicius tried to be the hero time and time again. Didn't work. At least you gotta give him some credit for tirelessly trying to rescue Real Madrid in that sense. We did not see that kind of fire from other players. Mbappe is one of them. Mbappe was a ghost last night. My opinion, if we're talking player grades, the only players I can rescue from this game off the top of my head are obviously Courtois, man of the game, man of the match for Real Madrid. Valverde showed fire. Militao, so, but I can rescue him. Then maybe Bellingham. Other than those players, I think I cannot give a pass to the other players who stepped on the field last night. 13 minutes into the show, I want to at least talk for 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes of the show, about my main 2 concerns after this performance. Number 1 is Arda Guler. Look, Arda has been having a phenomenal season. This is his best, obviously his best season as a Real Madrid or as a professional player so far. He's been consistent. He's been top 5 player for Real Madrid this year. I would say so. He's been creating a brilliant partnership with Mbappe week in and week out, feeding Mbappe with assists week in and week out. No complaints from me with regards to Arda's first half of the season so far, but I am concerned about his ability to play in big, intense physical games. His mistake in El Clásico wasn't ideal. He was obviously a ghost against Atletico as well. Didn't perform at a high level against Marseille in the Champions League either in that game. I said during the summer that I had some skepticism about Arda's ability to lead Real Madrid's midfield or be a crucial midfielder for Real Madrid in big games. Right now, time has proven me right. And Arda has not been a good player for Real Madrid in the three crucial or intense games that we've seen Real Madrid face against elite opposition so far this year. El Clásico gave away in the Metropolitano gave away a penalty as well, yeah. So he's been having some issues facing intensity and physicality and pressing from other teams against elite opponents. He's obviously extremely young, can work on these issues, will work on these issues. When he will be able to fix that remains to be seen. And this might be an issue for the rest and the remainder of the season for Real Madrid. Maybe Arda figures it out 1 year, 2 years from now. But this season, this issue could cost Real Madrid big time. Because right now, Arda is an undisputed starter for Real Madrid. He's an indispensable player for Xabi Alonso, irreplaceable as well. And if he's not able to solve this pressing and this intensity from the opposition, it's going to be tough for Real Madrid. This is point number 1 I wanted to make. Point number 2, Dean Huijsen's defending. We need to talk about it. Late August, with Kylian, I said that the signing was generational, that we had a player for 15 years. I do think he has taken 2 or 3 step backs with regards to his performances on defense. We know his ability to distribute the ball is crucial. Last night, not so much. Made some mistakes in that front. But I do worry about his defensive ability right now. He's not composed, physical, intense against elite attackers with regards to his defensive ability. And granted, we're talking about another young player who has time to develop, to improve from these issues. But as we said with Arda, this is a player Real Madrid need this year. And unless he figures it out during the course of the season, Real Madrid are going to struggle because of this. So Arda and Huijsen are my main 2 concerns, just because they do not have a replacement in the squad. Like, Huijsen does have a replacement when Rudiger comes back from his injury. I think Huijsen is important for what Xabi Alonso is trying to build with regards to his passing ability and ability to distribute from the back line. So I don't think Rudiger is going to replace Huijsen in the starting lineup. The same goes for Arda. Arda is a key player for Xabi Alonso. He's not going to be replaced this year. And that means that both players, if they keep struggling against elite opposition, it's going to cost Real Madrid. Real Madrid are going to struggle just because of them. And, their lack of experience, their lack of composure against elite opponents. So, this can happen when you sign elite talent who are still maybe a bit young and inexperienced for Champions League football. So this can happen. Growing pains in terms of, their ability to perform in the big stage. I expect both of them to figure it out at some point in their careers, like really soon, maybe next year, maybe the year after that. But this year, I believe it's going to happen. It's going to cost Real Madrid some headaches against elite opponents, because I would say that I at least have seen enough to be concerned about their ability to step up against elite opposition. I will wrap this show up by saying that I did not like Alonso's substitution. I think this is also a step back for Xabi Alonso with regards to his reputation managing Real Madrid against big opponents. Obviously, El Clásico was huge for him in terms of, how the fans and the media and all that were going to be calm with his ability to coach against elite opponents. Last night, I stepped back. And right now, once again, the team has to prove themselves or itself against elite opposition. And the next opportunity for them will be against Manchester City in a month's time, going to happen in 4 weeks. Until then, we're hoping to see better performances from Real Madrid, but we will not have a definitive answer until Real Madrid hosts Manchester City at the Bernabeu in 1 month. That sucks. Hopefully Real Madrid keep performing at a high level against smaller opponents, manageable opponents in La Liga and also the Champions League during this month. But until Real Madrid hosts Manchester City next month, we will not have a definitive answer on whether or not Real Madrid and Xabi Alonso have found what it takes to perform against elite opponents. And that's obviously not ideal. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully, let me just share 1 extra minute. I don't think it's time to panic. I think it's time to have some concerns in the back of your minds. Right now, I wouldn't panic just yet. I'm not ready to panic. Like, I would be panicking if this came after a loss in El Clásico. I think the Clásico gave this team some breathing room for me to at least not be panicking just yet. Bad games happen. Let's be concerned about how bad the performances against Atletico and Liverpool have been. But I would not push the panic button just yet. Anyways, stay tuned for more content over at managingmadrid.com and for more episodes of the Managing Madrid podcast later this week, where we will be obviously talking about this performance and some hangover takeaways from it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and see you later.